Hello and welcome to my review of the Orks Deffcoptas, currently only found in the Orks Combat Patrol, which will cost you £85. I'd like to think that they'll be released separately in their own kit, and I'd hazard a guess that they will cost around about £36.50 if the Squig Hog boys are anything to go by. They might even be a bit less, like £31.50, but I'm pretty sure they will be released later on. They're a monopose, easy to build kit, and that's a bit of a shame. We've been waiting a long time for plastic Deffcoptas ever since their arrival in the 40k boxed game Sanctus Reach. That game system was out almost 20 years ago now, but we've had to settle on some old metal Deffcoptas which were eventually upgraded to Finecast, and now you can no longer get them on Games Workshop's web store. In a way, I'd also wished Forge World to step up and release them in resin, and even create a Shin-Ork. They used to have a Shin-Ork on the web store, but they no longer have that model either. I would love to see this unit of Deffcoptas be released separately and actually upgraded, so you've got a multi-part, multi-pose kit where you could change the arms, you could add bits and pieces to them, you could change the bases and change their weapons. But this is what we've got. This is the form in which the Deffcoptas come right now. The form of this review, it will be, I'll have a look at each of these Deffcoptas individually. There are no spare parts, so we'll go straight onto the size comparisons, and I'll even compare them to the old Deffcoptas from about 20 years ago, and then I will go through all of their rules. Their rules have changed nearly every edition as well. So first things first, let's have a look at these up close and personal. So this is the kind of lead Deffcopta. As you'd imagine, they are a fast attack choice, and you can have up to 6 of them. So yeah, I suppose you could get 2 of these combat patrols. The only downside of that is all of these 6 will look the same. You'll have 2 sets of 3 twins, and of course all of the boys are going to look the same as well, so you'll have many models that will look identical. But yes, out of those 3, one of them can be, the rockets can be replaced with a custom Mega Blaster, which isn't that bad. You know, they're all the same range. However, I do feel like you're getting many more shots with the rockets, because it's almost like normal rocket launchers are heavy D3, but in this new edition, these particular Deffcoptas come with rocket launchers that are capable of 2 D3, so you're potentially getting 6 shots, 6 rocket shots each. So 6 of them. Yeah, if they all had the rockets, 36 rockets they could be firing off, which is fantastic. Anyway, this one is armed with the custom Mega Blaster. We'll go more onto the rules a bit later on. It's got this big bomb as well, which is another new thing that they've added on. I'd like to say this guy is the knob, but he's not. He's just a normal Ork boy in the Deffcopta. You've got a lot of detail on these. You've got the engine side of things. You've got a thruster here. You've got the targeter. You've got rockets. In particular, for this one, you've got little rockets on the propeller blades. I'm not sure whether that makes the propeller blades spin ludicrously fast. I don't know. Maybe they can activate it when they need a really sudden increase in speed. But likewise, they've got this thruster here and a tail rotor. He is holding a slugger pistol, and I do like how they've attached him to a base. I much prefer this than the old quite brittle flying stands. I do like it when they incorporate it to the base. You know, you've even got one of these shock jumper tyres, and actually, nice bit of detail, some squig mines that one of the vehicles has dropped by. So I like that. connection with other fast attack units in the Ork arsenal. You've then got this Deffcopta, which has got 6 rockets. He's holding a stick bomb. There's this little orkanoid type fly creature. There's some kind of barrel and gas canisters there, and with skulls obviously, and rocks. You've got the tail rotor, which is quite bladed. You've got blades on the propeller. You've got some exhausts with this one too, and he's wearing his face mask. So yeah, that's that Deffcopta, quite nice. And then the final one here, you just got like, you know, bits of metal on this propeller. You've only got 4 rockets here, and you've got some nice sharp spikes there. His base has again part of a propeller from a Deffcopta, some spent casings, some skulls, some rocks. He himself has this kind of chopper with a hook to it, and he's got some goggles on, and the engine and loads of exhausts at the back of this one. So I do like the detail on them. I think they look fantastic. I do prefer the look of these to the older ones, which look a bit basic. I'll show you those in a moment. Just the only downside is, you know, the lack of variety with them. You know, if you get another 3, they're going to look exactly the same as these. This kit and the Ork Boy kit, I definitely feel like Games Workshop should have invested a bit more time and effort and money into these to make them multi-part, multi-pose kits, because they are, well, the Deffcoptas have been sought after for many years, and the Ork Boys are, well, they're the core unit of your Ork force. So it pays to have a multi-part, multi-pose core unit to any of the army forces, particularly to Orks, which were one of the first armies that they brought out. So then, size comparisons. This is one of the older Deffcoptas from about 20 years ago. We'll just compare it to these. So size wise, they're similar. I'd say the new ones are a bit more streamlined, but also I'd say a little bit taller, but that's because they've been incorporated onto that base. But you can see how, I say dull, boring. These aren't really dull, boring, but they share some aesthetics, don't they? Look, you can see there's fuel lines. You've got the rockets. You've got the Ork himself with the kind of flying mask. I don't think I painted this one that long ago, so maybe I should do a bit more highlighting on him, but obviously it's wobbling because of the flying base. But they're gonna suit your older Deffcoptas if you've got these plastic ones, so I won't worry about whether they're gonna fit with them. They are. So again, if you've got 3 of the old ones, you've got your unit of 6, which is fantastic. The only thing you're going to miss out on is a, you know, second custom Mega Blaster, but hey, you're getting, you know, up to 6 rockets instead, which is always good. So that's where they stand next to the old Deffcoptas. What I'll also do is show you my knob, which is right here. He's got the chopper, and if we just compare him, yeah, it's a shame that we don't get a knob on a Deffcopta. It is odd because we do get knobs for Storm Boys, so I just like to see knobs on everything. You know, knobs in Def Trebs, knobs in fast attack units and battle wagons. It'd just be cool. It really would, if they were in all the sort of little aspects of Ork Army. So that's where it stands next to the knob. A war boss on Squigosaur, it's right here. Gives you an idea of how massive he is compared to them, how big the Squigosaur is as well. And also a Def Dread. So they're, you know, a little bit taller than a Def Dread. And then Ghazghkull himself. So there you go. I think they are a little bit taller than Ghazghkull. So it gives you an idea of, you know. And then finally, compared to both an old Ork Boy and the new Ork Boys. So I must say, if you're using these new Deffcoptas with the old Ork Boys, they're going to still work, still going to look all right next to each other. And finally, the last size comparison I always like to make is just with the Imperial models. So I do have a Space Marine, Slime Marbo, and a Primaris. You know, if you're going up against Primaris, these are still going to be, you know, a fair bit taller than these. But yeah, if we just compare the Space Marine and a Primaris. Primaris might even come up to the top of the rockets there. Slime Marbo could maybe jump on these and take the Ork out. So that's where they stand. They're going to be a sort of medium-sized unit on the battlefield. And now there is only one more thing left for me to do in this review, and that is to go through all of the Deffcoptas rules. Predictably, you'll find them in your fast attack section in the Ork Codex, which now has a fair chunk of other units, everything from all of the speed freak vehicles such as the shock jump dragsters, the snaz wagons, the war bikers are there, of course, the other trucks like the booster blasters and squig buggies and scrap jets. You have the tried and tested Storm Boys unit, but it's also joined by some newer units such as the Knob on Smasher Squigs and the Squig Hog Boys. So yeah, Orks now have a solid fast attack section. So a unit of 3 will cost you 8 power points or 50 points per model, and you're getting obviously the Copter rockets and the custom Mega Blaster in there for, you know, as part of those points, but you will have to pay 5 points more for a big bomb, but it's certainly worth doing. You can have between 3 and 6 in one unit. Their movement speed is 14 inches, weapon skill is 3+, ballistic skill is 5+, strength 4, toughness 5, 4 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 6, and a save of 4+. If the unit contains 4 or more models, it has a power rating of 12, and every model is equipped with a Copter rockets, slugger, spinning blades, and stick bombs. So what do these Copter rockets do? Why are they so good? Well, as I mentioned earlier in the review, they're a range of 24 inches, they're heavy 2d3, strength 8, AP -2, damage 3, and blast. Yes, you know, Orks, they do have that ballistic skill of 5+, so even if you were managed to get, you know, full 6 shots off with them, the chances of you landing hits, probability wise, you're probably only going to get 2 hits out of those 6, so don't get too excited. But when they do hit, you know, you can have potentially 6 damage in total, which is nice. The slugger works as usual. It's a 12-inch range pistol 1 weapon with a strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. The custom Mega Blaster, which is this new thing that they've added, it's the same range as the Copter rockets, which is 24 inches. It's Assault D3, Strength 8, AP -3, Damage D6, and it's Blast. The Copter rockets are also Blast. If any unmodified hit rolls of a 1 are made with the attack weapon, with this weapon, the bearer suffers 1 mortal wound after the shooting with the weapon. So it's a little bit like the Copter rockets, but potentially you're getting half the number of shots, but you do get a better armor penetration and potentially better damage. The spinning blades, which is their melee weapon, back in the old rules they used to be the same as a power fist, but without the -1 to hit. Now they're just a melee weapon with a +1 strength, which is strength 5, AP -1, damage 1. The beauty about these though is each time an attack is made with this weapon, you make 3 hit rolls instead of 1. So that's fantastic. So you're now getting your 6 attacks there at strength 5, which is all right. I mean, you know, you've got a unit of 3, that's going to be 18 attacks, and their weapon skill is 3+. So, you know, you've got a potential there of mincing up a load of soft targets. The other war gear, such as this big bomb, once per battle in your movement phase, after the bearer makes a normal move or advances, you can select 1 point on the battlefield the bearer moved across during the phase. Remember, they move 14 inches. You roll 1d6 for each unit within 3 inches of that point, subtracting 1 if that unit is a character, which excludes vehicles or monsters. On a 4+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. So that's pretty nice. You know, you've got a 50-50 chance there of scoring some mortal wounds with the big bomb. I'd always take a big bomb. War gear options: for every 3 models this unit contains, 1 model's Copter rockets can be replaced with 1 custom Mega Blaster and 1 big bomb. There you go. Abilities: Mob Rule, Here We Go, Ramshackle and War. Big red button. Each time this unit advances, do not make an advance roll. Instead, until the end of that phase, add 6 inches to the move characteristic of models in this unit. That's nice. You don't have to roll. You just go an extra 6 inches, that's 20 inches there. Swooping down. During deployment, you can set up this unit in the skies instead of setting it up on the battlefield. If you do so, then in the reinforcement step of one of your movement phases, you can set up this unit anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. So pretty much they can deep strike a bit later on. Keywords: Orks, Vehicle, Fly, Speed Freaks, and Deffcoptas. So there you go. It's a shame you can't have a full Apocalypse Now squadron of these things with you know, I'm surprised that they don't have speakers on them as well. That would be cool. And more rockets and more weapons. I would like to see some Orks again. I'd like to see some Ork blimps, some cruisers with a K. Maybe we'll get them in the future, but this is what we've got now. You know, I think a unit of 6 would be pretty good. The thing about them though is their main targets will be heavy armor and vehicles, but their survivability is sort of questionable. You know, their save is 4+, which is nice for Orks, and their toughness is 5, and they do have the 4 wounds each. So 6 of them, you are going to be looking at 24 wounds. It's just whether they can reach out with all of their rockets, and also which unit are you going to target next with them, with their, you know, in combat with their spinning blades. Because although they're going to be getting a lot of attacks, whether they're going to survive in combat or how much damage output they can do for sort of your Space Marine equivalent is a bit questionable. So on one hand, their ideal targets are heavy armor or high toughness, but the downside of that is their randomness of the number of shots and difficulty to hit anything with their ballistic skill. And secondly, if you are going up against horde units, whether they can bring those horde units down with the number of attacks they've got after they've survived getting there. So they'll be good at both of those things, but you've just got to keep an eye on their survivability and them not getting swamped. What do you guys think of the Deffcoptas? For me, I was really looking forward to them, and it is nice that we've got them in plastic again, but I was a little bit disappointed that they're not their own individual kit with, you know, multi-parts, and they are all easy to build. Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. For Gork and Morg.